Hi, I'm Foster Fries. I'm living the American dream in Jackson Hole. When I came out of the Army, my wife and I had a small baby, a 62 Volkswagen, $800 of accumulated leave pay, and we've enjoyed what America can offer when it comes to the opportunity of working hard and applying yourself. I hope I can be part of the effort to keep that American dream alive for your children and grandchildren. But as I look at the presidential campaign, I think back at how badly Dukakis and McGovern got trounced, because they were too far to the left and embraced ideas inconsistent with mainstream America. But today, Senator Obama is much further to the left of where they were, and yet he's ahead of McCain in most of the polls. Why is that? Is it because the country has changed, our attitude is more accepting of European-style government? Or are people not aware of what Senator Obama stands for? What will be the changes he enacts? Perhaps the media has shielded us from really understanding what his positions are, and also how his incredible gift of oratory has allowed him to say different things to different audiences and excite everyone because people hear what they want to hear. Let me share with you a sentence on page 11 of his great book, The Audacity of Hope. It explains a lot of how he's running his campaign and how he's communicating to us. It says, "I am new enough on the national political scene that I serve as a blank screen on which people of vastly different political stripes project their own views." Let me read that one more time. "I am new enough on the national political scene that I serve as a blank screen on which people of vastly different political stripes project their own views." Let's take a quick look at just a few examples of what Senator Obama has said. First, let's see what he says about public financing of campaigns.
Senator Obama, let me ask you about motivating, inspiring, keeping your word. Nothing more important. Last year, you said if you were the nominee, you would opt for public financing in the general election of a campaign. Try to get some of the money out. You checked yes on a questionnaire. And now, Senator McCain has said, calling your bluff, let's do it. You seem to be waffling, saying, well, if we can work on an arrangement here. Why won't you keep your word in writing that you made to abide by public financing of the fall election?
Tim, I am not yet the nominee. And what I've said is that when I am the nominee, if I am the nominee, because we've still got a bunch of contests left and Senator Clinton's a pretty tough opponent. If I am the nominee, then I will sit down with John McCain and make sure that we have a system that is fair for both sides.
So you may opt out of public financing. You may break your word.
What I've said is at the point where I'm the nominee, at the point where it's appropriate, I will sit down with John McCain. I have an important announcement, and I wanted all of you, the people who built this movement from the bottom up, to hear it first. We've made the decision not to participate in the public financing system for the general election.
Now let's turn to Iraq.
To ensure that we are not continuing to try to impose a military solution on what is essentially a political problem in Iraq. And that's why I put forward a bill that would begin a phased redeployment and have all our troops out by March 31st of next year.
Will you pledge that by January 2013, the end of your first term, more than 5 years from now, there will be no U.S. troops in Iraq?
I think it's hard to project 4 years from now. I don't want to make promises not knowing what the situation is going to be 3 or 4 years out. And have all our troops out by March 31st of next year. I don't want to make promises not knowing what the situation is going to be 3 or 4 years out.
Now let's see what Senator Obama says about Iran.
Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, these countries are tiny compared to the Soviet Union. They don't pose a serious threat to us. Iran, they spend 1/100th of what we spend on the military. I mean, if Iran ever tried to pose a serious threat to us, they wouldn't stand a chance. Iran is a grave threat. It has an illicit nuclear program. It supports terrorism across the regions and militias in Iraq. It threatens Israel's existence. It denies the Holocaust.
And here we can see where Senator Obama stands on the issue of defense.
And we are spending billions of dollars on missile defense. And I actually believe that we need missile defense because of Iran and North Korea and the potential for them to obtain or to launch nuclear weapons. I will cut investments in unproven missile defense systems. I will not weaponize space. And I actually believe that we need missile defense because of Iran and North Korea and the potential for them to obtain or to launch nuclear weapons. I will cut investments in unproven missile defense systems.
In this next clip, watch as Senator Obama speaks to a pro-choice group and then to a pro-life group, where he attempts to skillfully avoid alienating his audience.
Well, the first thing I do as president is sign the Freedom of Choice Act. That's the first thing that I do. I have stood up for the freedom of choice in the United States Senate, and I stand by my votes against the confirmation of Judge Roberts and Samuel Alito. With one more vacancy on the court, we could be looking at a majority hostile to a woman's fundamental right to choose for the first time since Roe versus Wade, and that is what is at stake in this election.
40 million abortions. At what point does a baby get human rights, in your view?
Well, I think that whether you're looking at it from a theological perspective or a scientific perspective, answering that question with specificity, is above my pay grade.
Now let's see where Senator Obama stands on nuclear energy.
I start off with the premise that nuclear energy is not optimal. And so I am not a nuclear energy proponent. I favor nuclear power as one component of our overall energy mix.
The next clip shows two contrasting perspectives on the status of Jerusalem as Senator Obama speaks before the politically powerful American-Israeli Political Action Committee.
Obama recently caused a great deal of controversy here when he said in a speech,
Now let me be clear. Israel's security is sacrosanct. It is non-negotiable. And Jerusalem will remain the capital of Israel, and it must remain undivided.
to Palestinians, that is flat out unacceptable. When you said that, did you not realize the significance that that has for so many people in this region?
No, number one, the fact is that Jerusalem is Israel's capital. So I was simply stating a fact. With respect to...
You said must remain, undivided. Those are code words.
Well, the issue of it being undivided, I have said, and I said immediately after the speech, that word was poorly chosen. What I was referring to is making sure that we're not setting up barbed wire across Israel.
But Senator, it's a very simple declarative statement. It must remain, and you started the paragraph by saying, "Let me be clear."
Sure. If the day after or the day of making the speech, I can see that the wording was poor, and it's immediately corrected. Then
rookie mistake?
Well, I wouldn't say rookie mistake. I think that veterans make mistakes as well.
We've had some fun going through these little video clips. I think it's been enlightening to see how capable and competent and skilled and what an inspiring fellow Senator Obama is. But I'm concerned that we really don't know what his policies will mean for our country down the road. There is a difference between rhetoric and record. And all of us need to spend more time to understand what are the policies that we are going to be facing in the years ahead. This is a dramatic change to where our country has been headed. So join me and all your neighbors to really work hard to find out what is the true story of what we're going to be facing. It seems such a shame that we've become such a self-indulgent me generation right now. And let's remember what JFK said. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Together we can take America to a whole new level of excitement and freedom and prosperity. But really, can we do it with more government? Do we want to turn our healthcare system and so many other things over to the same people that managed Katrina and can't secure our borders? Think hard. Let's make us a great country together.